Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. And we have an exciting one for you today. We're talking about how Buyside and Adwerx work together, specifically about under this digital marketing umbrella. Now, you're going to find advertising and seller lead gen and all of these other things that we use in our business under this big umbrella and how these tools can work together. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. My name is Tom Shively, and I'm the Director of Training here at Buyside. And we also have Nathan Huning with us from the Adwerx team. So Nathan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Pleased to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so just a quick agenda for what we're going to be looking at. We're going to take a quick introduction to what both of these tools are in case you use one of them and you're wondering what the other is. And what we specifically do and how these two companies are different. So we're going to talk about that first. Then we'll talk about automation. So we've talked in previous webinars about some things that have to go with automation and how you can send out this marketing material that's going to help you out in your business without having to spend your time on this really precious time budget that we have on each of these things. There are things that can get sent out. So we'll talk about that today. And then personalization, how we can make these advertisements and this lead gen our own, how we can make it ourselves. And we'll talk a little bit about marketing yourself and your business and how you can do all of those things using these two tools together. So we're really excited. I think I already did this, but this is the two of us. This is our moderators here. Again, my name's Tom Shively. We also have Nathan Huning. So really quick introduction. Nathan, could you take us through what is Adwerx? What is it? What do you guys do?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks. So Adwerx, it's actually pretty simple. We put your face on screens. So if anybody asks you after this training, what was it you learned about Adwerx? You can say, well, Nathan said he puts my face on screens. So ultimately, advertising is all around us. It's on billboards, it's on yard signs, it's on postcard mailers, but getting access to the advertising inventory of all of your favorite websites and social media, mobile devices, laptops, that's what we do. So anytime you're visiting a website and you see an ad, Adwerx is one of the companies that places those for you.
That's awesome. I love that tagline that we put your face on screens. I'm picturing my face on a billboard right now, but instead it's in somebody's pocket. I love that. So really quick, Buyside is it's a tool. It's a company that's going to help brokerages leverage their data, and we do that in three ways. We're going to help you generate new seller leads, win more listings, and close deals faster. Now, today we're going to be talking about the generating your seller leads part, the marketing suite portion of this tool. So we're going to be talking about how you can get this personalized advertisement, this lead gen tool out in front of your clients, and how we can use that to get new, really warm seller leads from these different places, from places like your social media or these advertisements that Nathan just talked about. So we can use this link, this website, in order to get this in front of a lot of people. And what's great about it is you're providing clients with a lot of great information about your business, about their listing, about the market, about the industry, all from this one page, and it doesn't take up your time. So if you do send this out using that Adwerx tool, we get, let's say, 50 people that click on that link and they're able to see this link. You're not sitting on the phone for 50 hours in 1 week with all of these new seller lead gens, right? This is just a tool that's going to be able to provide that information at scale. So we're going to talk a little bit about scale in a little bit. So we have a little bit about that later on in the webinar. But first, let's talk about the workflow. So when we're talking about agents and how an agent's marketing flow and their workflow during the week go, how does Adwerx fit into that?
What a great question. So, and I want to point out too, I love partnering with Buyside, and I'm so pleased to be here because we talk to our clients, which include most of the top brokerages around the country. And they're asking, like, is Adwerx lead gen? And we say, no, it isn't. Adwerx is not lead gen. I want to just point that out. And it's so important. I'll say it a second time. Adwerx is not lead gen, but it works really well with whatever lead gen tools and opportunities you have. So that's why we talk to agents about partnering Adwerx together with their lead gen. And I'll tell you what I mean. So the idea here is that ultimately people will reach out to you. They'll reach out to you on a form on your website. They'll click an ad, they'll see your phone number, and they'll call it. But ultimately, what is the relationship that those people have with you to that point? So that's where Adwerx comes in. If you think that there's, let's say there's two different realtors, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to help me find a house to buy, and I have their phone numbers, I can either call them or email. I'll fit into the Buyside workflow once I reach out. But think of how those two agents are competing with each other. If one of the agents' face and names I see over and over and over and over again, when I finally have the opportunity to reach out to one or the other, which one do you think I'm going to pick? And so the idea here is we talk about the difference between a qualified and an unqualified lead is branding. So we help you with the branding part to help you become really well known and locally famous in your market, such that when someone does reach out and becomes a lead and moves into your lead gen capture system like Buyside, you've already had that relationship built with them.
I love that. That's great. And especially in that qualified lead part, because you're right. If I see something that's all over social media, that's on, websites that I go to, I'm more likely to use that product, that ticket. I know I just bought a teeth whitening kit because I saw it on my social media a bunch of times, but in doing the research on that, it was the one that I saw most often. So I think that's such a good point in real estate agents, that if you're able to get your face out there, there's more people that are able to recognize who you are, it's going to be more helpful in getting a lot of those new leads, which is where Buyside helps, is where you're able to get that lead information. And so how this fits into your workflow in the week is that, let's say somebody does see that brand recognition online on social media, and they see this advertisement and they click on it. Well, where is it going to go? It has to go somewhere, right? And so your home valuation site, a branded page to you, is going to be a great place where they can enter in their address. You can get their contact information, and it's going to help you generate those new leads so that you have these really warm leads, so that during the week, when you're looking at who should I call next, when am I going to generate new business, I can go to my leads page and call these people right away, so that I'm going to be able to win more listings off of these really warm leads, because they saw my face out there, because they were able to identify that I was the agent they wanted to work with from all of this brand recognition out there. So you're able to use these two tools in your normal workflow. And before we move on, Nathan, really quick, how simple is it to use this tool? How simple is it to get an advertisement out there?
It takes about 6 months and multiple trips in person. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
It takes about 90 seconds and 3 clicks. Yeah, it's bonkers.
That is so easy. And that's one of the things where with Buyside too, you use this one link. You copy the link and you can paste it places, and it takes literally seconds to get this out into the world. So if it's 90 seconds for an advertisement, a few seconds to grab this link, you're able to get this great brand awareness and all of these really qualified warm leads, just because you took the few seconds, the 5 minutes on Monday to send this out for the week, to get it set up, and all of a sudden all these leads are pouring in, and this new business is out there.
Let me piggyback on that. So I love the way that you're describing this, and I think it's really helpful for the folks on the call here. I know for me, when I'm talking with agents, when I'm thinking about how this works, you have advertisement on screens that you can click or tap. And so if you think about a traditional advertisement, like a billboard or a yard sign, I drive by the billboard, I get a postcard, I'm limited with how I can engage with it. But a digital ad, if I click it or tap it, it means I can provide a destination page. So when agents are setting up their advertising, they say, well, Nathan, where should I direct people? And you can send them to your agent profile page that your company provides. You can send them maybe to like a vanity URL. You have your own setup. But for most agents, I think setting up your lead capture system is just as simple as copy pasting the Buyside link into your Adwerx ad, and then you get the best of both worlds.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you let's say you put something else back there, like your brokerage website or even your agent website, sure, they'll be able to identify you, and they might be able to browse a few listings, but we don't necessarily capture that lead that way. Whereas if we put that home valuation site, they're able to run their address. We get that warm lead and they learn about the industry and we still get that recognition. So they're able to see your face, your contact information, just like they would on any of those other pages, but you also get that contact information that we can use as this warm lead. That's such a good point. So next, we're going to talk about how is digital advertisement different from lead generation. Now, I know we briefly touched on this, but how can we separate those two? Now, I know both of these are under the umbrella that is digital marketing. We're using a new way of marketing because it is online. It is these new sense of getting your face out there. But how do these two things differ?
What a great question. So I think the easiest way to think about this is, what is all of the work we're doing to build a relationship with someone before they're ready to work with us? So if you think like most people, when they're looking to buy or sell a home, according to NAR, they spend months and months and months making up their minds. And you can just think in your own life, like my colleagues here at the Adwerx office, just in my department, my small team, we have 4 people, Anthony, Alicia, Nicole, and Jacob. All 4 of them are first-time home buyers. They're looking to buy a home. Limited inventory market in Durham, North Carolina, that's for sure. So they're spending months and months and months and months and months looking online. Now, some of them have realtors already, some of them don't, but the point is that even the folks who are, relatively interested in buying or selling, they don't just make up their minds right away. So the idea is that for the weeks and months of them making up their minds, and these might be people in your local market that you don't even know are out there, if we're targeting the right geographies or the right people with our online ads, then they're going to see us over and over and over and over again. And eventually, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. But the point is that they're going to be ready to reach out to an agent. And so at that point, your lead capture system takes over. So the idea is that we want everyone who does eventually reach out to you to have a relationship with you. When they see you on screen, when they see you on their phone, when they see you even on television, we can put your commercial on people's living room televisions. Then you develop a relationship with them ahead of time. And that means that when you do get leads that come in, they already know you and like you. So we want to help the leads that you get. Now, again, we're not lead gen. We just want your lead gen to be better. And that's what Adwerx does.
I love that. It's great. Yeah, and the lead gen portion of this, again, it's capturing those names. It's getting those names into your database, into our CRM, and being able to use those. So once they identify you, once they know who you are, they're able to say, I want to work with this person, but B, I now have that contact information that I can reach out to this person. But the point here isn't necessarily that you want to that these two are such differing things. It's that they work together, right? It's that these two things, digital advertising and lead generation, are 2 pieces in the same puzzle. So if we put those together, we're able to see that picture, and that is being able to have that brand recognition and have those new leads. So they're different steps in a workflow as we use them together. So it's not deciding which of these we'd like to use, which I'm going to spend my time on. It's using them together that's really going to help you exceed in this digital marketing space. So in the last couple of marketing webinars that we've done, we've talked about automation. Can you just give us a quick rundown of what automation is and how it applies to real estate agents?
Yeah, great question. So we talk about automation in the sense of, how do you be in multiple places at once? How can you do a task that normally takes 3 hours, you can do it in 1 hour, or in the same hour, now you can do 3 tasks. The whole thing is about scaling your business. So if you're an agent who's comfortably doing, let's say, 3 to 5 listings a year, and you're making some money off that, and you want to grow your business, if all of a sudden I come to you and I say, I'm going to drop 50 listings into your lap tomorrow, and your business collapses, then you're not ready to make that kind of money. You need to have these systems and tools in place to handle that kind of volume, and you can't do it by yourself. So there's so many different tools that you can use, and the list is as long as my arm. We're just talking about digital advertising and lead gen today, but there's your CRM, there's your social media, there's your email newsletter marketing, there's your print mailer, there's your transaction management software, maybe use Dotloop or Skyslope or whatever. There's so many different ways we can take manual processes that agents have to do and we can make them much simpler and much more effective. And the degree to which you can incorporate these practices, and it doesn't happen by itself. You got to work at it a little bit, and it takes time. But as you automate more and more of your business, it frees you up to do the things that you do best as an agent, and that's where you start to make the real money.
I love that. That actually dovetails nicely with the next point that we're going to make, which is why digital. I mean, digital is this new tool that we're all using. All of us have it, and most of us have a cell phone. We're doing a presentation on digital right now. So why would we want to use digital? And I think I can take the beginning of this to dovetail. One of the things that you said was, if you have those 50 leads, how am I able to manage that, scale that? And one of the ways is, yeah, if you send this advertisement out, if you post on social media, if you just post something on your own social media, how are you able to manage, let's say you have 2,000, 3,000 friends. Well, let's say 50 of them respond. That's not a huge number, especially with how many people we've met and are friends with on social media. How do we manage all those? And a good way is to be able to have a tool where you can direct them. We can gather that lead information, but they can also get the information. So if they're interested in real estate, they want to know, how much is my home worth, or who is going to buy it, or any of that. What is the interest in my home? You can direct them to that home valuation site, that tool that's going to be able to answer those questions that they'll have in real time. So instead of waiting the 15 minutes to respond to this lead, or let's say we did get 50 leads and it's going to take us all week to get through them, we still provided them with that information. So there's a couple of points here that maybe you can help us touch on, and that's that people are set in a traditional sense of marketing. So why is it that we would want to use digital?
I'll tell you, for me, it's cheaper and it's easier. I don't think you have to say much more than that. Like, I don't know about you. I've worked with agents doing mailers. And if you're going to drop a mailer, you call up the post office and you get a list of addresses for this one neighborhood or zip code, and you got to pay the post office for that. You got to pay to design your mailer. You got to print it. You got to pay postage. All of a sudden, you're out $3,000 for, I don't know, 5,000 people that you're targeting in a neighborhood, and maybe most of those end up in the garbage. Now I'm actually a fan of direct mail. A lot of my colleagues poo-poo it and say, oh, you should move all to digital. I actually quite like direct mail. But we have to ask ourselves, is there an easier way to reach those 5 or 10 or 20,000 people? And the fact, A, that you have a digital supercomputer in your pocket at all times, that you spend most of your waking hours looking at, and the fact that we can reach people with a digital ad so much easier, more effectively, and less expensively than digital, it just doesn't make sense not to incorporate this as a fundamental part of our business.
Absolutely. And good point to think about here is that the largest group of home buyers now is the millennial age group. It's the people that grew up with technology in their pocket. So if you try and hand them a piece of paper, almost guaranteed it's going to end up in the trash. That's what you said. And I think it's a good place to be, that if we're looking for people to buy homes or sell homes or any of this, the age groups that are now in that area are really, really tech savvy. And so being able to make those advertisements that's going to be able to reach them, that's going to service this community, it's huge that it is a cheaper, faster way to do this, that we can now scale our business in that way. And in the last couple of months, we've taken a giant leap forward. Right? I mean, Nathan, maybe you can speak to how digital has leaped so much forward in just the last 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, a lot of the agents who are already embracing digital, they were the least disrupted by a devastating global pandemic. I mean, think about it. If you physically can't meet somebody in person to do a showing or to do a closing or whatever it is, you have to rely on remote tools. Well, what better way than to make sure that you're constantly staying top of mind with someone by then appearing on their phone or their laptop or their television, which they are now spending more time in front of because they're stuck indoors. So this is a big part of growing our business in the future.
Yeah, a huge thing that I've seen a lot of agents do is they're taking videos of themselves, and it's a way to add that personal touch into speaking to your clients. So why, or it's another way to get yourself out there. So really quickly, automation, why is it valuable? Why is it helpful? And maybe we can speak a little bit to some of the tools that we have for automation, like retargeting and like all these other things. Why is it helpful, and how does it help us generate these new seller leads?
Yeah, great question. So AdWorks offers a number of digital advertising tools, all of which can automate things you're already doing. And of course, it will tie nicely into Buyside because again, once we've created a relationship, that's what advertising is for, is to create a relationship with people before you meet them. Then when they're ready to work with you, you can automate a lot of these processes. So I'll just give you one good example. One tool that we offer partners is the ability to turn on what's called retargeting. So retargeting is that sticky ad or the creepy ad, you know, when you're shopping for, let's say, I was doing this last spring for lawnmowers on Home Depot, and then the next day it's lawnmowers as far as the eye can see. I mean, it's really weird how I can be talking to my wife about doing a camping trip in the western mountains of North Carolina, and then suddenly my Instagram is full of sleeping bags and tents and glamping and, you know, these kinds of things. So clearly my phone knows where I've been online and is trying to target me with these ads. So the idea is that if I come to your website and your ad follows me around automatically without you having to do anything, just by virtue of visiting your website, well, that's all that work you don't have to do. And it just happens while you sleep. That's how automation can change your business.
You know, I looked up work boots. I I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and every website I've been to since has been about work boots. I just keep seeing it everywhere. So
I
I love
tell you,
those
I mean,
ads.
they do it because it works. That's
Yeah,
the long and short of that.
I've got a new pair of work boots now. It did work. You know, and another thing to think about with these tools, these automated tools like retargeting, for example, is let's say they look up real estate and they're looking at websites, but maybe they just don't have time to go through the HVS right now or go through an entire page that's going to explain the market to them. This retargeting ad is going to give them more opportunities. So let's say they are sitting down to their computer later that night when they have a little bit more time, they see that advertisement and think, oh, you know what, I was interested in real estate this morning. Let me click on this now. So it gives them more opportunities as we work through this really fast-paced market. And like you said, with technology, things are moving so quickly now. So we're able to give people more opportunities and we're able to gather more of those leads because they were able to re-see these advertisements. So talk to me a little bit about scaling, about how we can scale up our business or how automation helps with that.
Yeah, great question. So another tool we have, for example, is so we have tools online that you can use to target ads to people either geographically or based on your database. So you can say, I want to have 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 ads a month go out to this zip code, or I want these 500 people that are like my real tight book of business, my biggest source of referrals and former customers. You can automate the follow-up with them by displaying an ad to specific people. And I don't know if you realize this, I didn't know this before I started working at AdWorks, but you can give me a list of names and our software can target those specific people with ads on their individual devices, wherever they live. So you can target people based on who they are or based on where they are. And in both cases, you can have a huge volume of impressions that would otherwise be very challenging to do in any other context. And that's how automating your digital advertising or automating your advertising using digital tools makes life a lot simpler.
I love it. That's great. So that actually kind of dovetails nicely into this next question, which is what advantages of automation specific to real estate? Now, I know we have some points here, but maybe you can talk a bit about how, let's say somebody's trying to farm in a particular area. We're trying to get lead gen information. So we use our HBS, we set it up so that we have this advertisement, but how do I get it to go out to, let's say, a specific neighborhood? So I want to get some names and some leads from this particular area. How can we make it work in this way?
Yeah, well, great question. So just again to remind you that AdWorks is not lead gen. Just I want to make sure that it's top of mind or top of funnel brand awareness advertising. So the idea though is that it's basically the digital equivalent of an online like a billboard. And so if you think that when I drive eastbound on I-85 into Durham every day, or I used to into the office, I would pass 3 Geico billboards on the same stretch of I-85. Now, it turns out that I actually do use Geico for my car insurance, but the point is that Geico has no idea who's seeing those billboards or how many or what people have actually called Geico because of those billboards. And frankly, Geico doesn't care because their goal is impressions. And the same thing is true for your yard signs. You might have a home for sale, and the first thing you do is put out a sign with your name on it, your phone number, possibly your face, and maybe 300 people drive by over the course of a month. Now, I hope that all 300 people see the sign every time they drive by, and I hope at least one of them calls you from that yard sign, but realistically, nobody will. And so you might think, oh, well, what a waste of time. Why even do yard signs? That's stupid. Well, no, we understand that the point is impressions. So if we can get impressions easily and more cheaply than the other tools that we have, then we are automating the process of impressing people, giving them impressions. I joked one time and I said that, the point of a yard sign is to expose yourself to the neighbors. And I said, no, wait, that's not what you're doing. I'm sorry. No, I mean, you get exposure. So, but that's the whole thing about advertising. If you're Coca-Cola, you're spending $250 million a year to put the Coca-Cola logo in front of you 6 times per day. That's their stated goal. And so that's building trust. When you see the Coca-Cola logo, you see the shape of the bottle, you see the red with the silver ribbon, you are making relationships with people while you're sleeping. So it saves you time, better results, higher client satisfaction. And again, when you're wanting people to refer you, even if they know you and like you, they might still forget to refer you. So if we have a gentle reminder that appears on their phone once a week, once a day, whatever, then when someone comes to you and says, hey, can you recommend a good agent? I'll have seen your ad that morning when I was looking up a chicken parm recipe on foodnetwork.com. That's how this works.
That's perfect. That's great. And yeah, it does generate a lot of that trust in this industry, which is huge. I mean, this is one of the biggest things that somebody's going to do in their life. The biggest thing they're going to purchase is going to be real estate. So having that trust, having that awareness, and seeing that somebody is working in their particular area is going to be huge. And a great way to farm in that particular area is use those advertisements, target a particular area, but we can also use, again, that back-end link, your buy-side page, in order to capture those leads. So not only are you getting advertisement and brand awareness in a particular area, but you can also farm in that particular area using these two tools together. All right, so let's talk about personalization. So these advertisements and all of these tools that we're talking about, how do we make it our own? So what is personalized advertisement and why do you need it?
Yeah, great question. I mean, so as a real estate agent, your face and your name is your business. We're all basically independent 1099 contractors. So on the one hand, we might be working, maybe we're by ourselves, maybe we're part of an indie brokerage, maybe we're part of a big national brand, but still ultimately you are your brand. And you might be thinking, Nathan, why does it matter that I should personalize my advertising to reflect my brand? I'm not a brand, I'm just a person. Well, here's the thing. All a brand is people's opinion of you. That's what a brand is. Tide gets your whites whiter. That's their brand. It's an opinion. So if you think if my goal is to make sure people have an opinion about me, and if they don't know you exist, they can't. But the idea here is that we want people to have an opinion about you. You're reputable. You're reliable. You're good at luxury. You're good at second homes, vacation properties, like whatever it is that you're targeting, whatever your niche is, your specialty, we want people to know what that is. And so advertising is a way of getting that out into the world. And so when you can use your own voice, your own language, your own photo, and some of the ads I see agents do are really silly. Some of our best performing ads, honestly, are the ones that just do not take themselves too seriously. And I'd be happy to provide several examples of that. But ultimately, you think of like Adwerx as a fire hose, and we're going to drive people's attention wherever you want us to send it. And where you should send it is a place where you can capture the leads. Now, again, the whole point of brand awareness is not that it will necessarily result in that, but you still want to have a place when you click on an ad or tap on an ad, you want to send them to a place where they can get the information, and you can tie the ad to exactly the link. So in Tom's example, if you say in your ad, hey, what's the interest in my home, or what's the value of my home, click here for a free appraisal. Well, you got to send them, you got to make good on that. And so you can send them to a site like Buyside, where you can get that market reports and then capture that information and do whatever you want with it.
Absolutely, and that's that personal portion of this. So not only are they getting ads, they're able to recognize you out into the world on social media, but they're also able to see your face, your contact information on that page. But it's personalized to them, right? It's their address. It's how much their listing is worth. It's who wants to buy their house. So being able to personalize this without any effort, it is already tailored that way, is huge. So they're going to have that brand awareness. They're going to have that way of seeing you as that agent, that expert, that market expert that they're going to want to see because they've seen your face everywhere. And then they provide you with this great information that is tailored specific to you. That is such a powerful way to get this trust, to get that new business. So let's talk about most people only interview one agent. So why is that important? Why is it when we're looking for an agent, we do a little bit of research, we meet with one person, and then we go, yeah, let's do the biggest thing in our life with this one person that I met. How is it
Right.
important?
Yeah, isn't that weird that like there's so much on the line for buying or selling a home? Like simple mistakes could cost you tens of thousands of dollars, and yet we're pretty quick. So let me tell you a story about this. So let me tell you how brand awareness and lead gen work together. So one of our clients who'd been using AdWorks for about 2 years, she got a phone call from a big lead gen company. Let's just call them Schmillo. And so this company Schmillo called her up. She also was paying Schmillo for some like featured agent status on this page. She got a call from the fraud department team and said that when people get to the page that has your face on it, they are clicking on you 3 times more often than any other agent on that page. Now we can put you at the top of the page, the bottom of the page, on the left, on the right. It doesn't matter. You are out competing the other agents on that profile page 3 to 1. What are you doing? And she said, and this is a true story, hand to God. She lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. And she says, all I can say is I've been running the same advertisement in the same markets for 2 years, targeting this one zip code. And so all I can conclude is that when people are finally ready to reach out and work with an agent, they work with the one whose name and face they've seen over and over again. So you want that first contact to be yours, because according to NAR, 4 out of 5 people, 4 out of 5, nearly 80% of people work with the first agent they contact. And so if you don't get that first call, you're not going to get the second. That's why this is important.
That's incredible, and that's a great story about how you can get that brand recognition. And when we've noticed that in using that information, getting somebody, when they meet with an agent, they want to have that trust right away. And what's great about this is getting your face out in front of people is a huge part of that. And the next part is being able to convert that into a lead, get into the room with the person so that we could shake their hand, or nowadays get on a video conference and however that is. And what we've noticed is that when people go to your home valuation site, when they go and they look up their address, there is contact forms on there. There's a form that's going to say, hey, if you have a question about real estate, contact me. And we noticed that over a quarter of people, over 25% of people are leaving their information. So it is that really warm lead. And about 10% of people are signing up for the monthly report. They're getting this recurring report to them so that they know, they recognize your face from where they saw it online. They're able to get these reports. And there's this huge amount of people that we're now getting these really warm leads from because they recognize us, because they trust us. And now that we know that most people only interview one agent, we're able to get that information in front of them and be able to convert that lead that much faster. All right, so here's the last question. The last sprint that we have here is, where do we start? Where is a good place to start when we're beginning in our lead gen and our advertising space? And I'll start this. A good place is if you already have Buyside and you're working with AdWorks, we want to see where this ad goes. We have both of these in our tech stack. A good place is to start by looking at your HVS site. It is to go in and see the information for yourself. But on the advertisement side, where is the best place to start?
Yeah, great question. So the simple answer is simply adwerx.com. So adwerx.com, and it's so simple to create an account and get started with your first ad in under 5 minutes. Now, if your company, it's worth checking to make sure, does your company, your brokerage, have an existing partnership with Adwerx, because we find that many agents don't even realize that their companies have already created at the brokerage level, at the national level, or regional, depending upon your firm. And what that means is you have your own custom portal page that you can use to log in. And if you log in that way, you'll have the permanent partner discount applied. So you won't have to pay full retail. So short answer number one, go to adwerx.com. Number two, check and see if you don't already have a relationship, because if so, then you'll want to log in that way instead of through just the regular adwerx.com, because you'll get advantage to that permanent partner discount.
I love it. That's perfect. So now we're sending out our advertisements, we're getting our face out in front of people, and we're converting those into warm, realistic leads that we can use to scale our business up and become that world-class agent that people know and they want to trust. That's all we have for you today. Thank you, Nathan, so much for being here. We really appreciate your insight into helping us decipher what is this digital marketing umbrella that we need and how we can explore the different sides of that using both Buyside and Adwerx.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'll just say at the end, this can be a lot to take in. Tom's an expert in Buyside, I'm an expert in Adwerx, but you're probably an expert in neither. And so if you want some help navigating some of this, we have either customer support you can call directly, or we have account reps, digital marketing coaches who are happy to spend time on the phone with you navigating this. So you don't need to figure it all out on your own. We're here to help however we can.
Absolutely, as do we. And I just happen to have that slide here. So if you need any help, you can always reach out to us at support@getbuyside.com, or we have our Buyside Insiders Facebook group. Thank you everybody for being here. We do have these webinars every single week on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we'll see you next time.